Republicans are not demanding anything, literally nothing. All we want is to reopen the government. The Democrats are demanding all those things I just showed you on the chart, plus a lot more. When I say they want to send money to foreign countries, this is some of the things that they would propose that we spend money on again. They're demanding, this is a ransom to reopen the government. Things like $4 million for global LGBTQI plus awareness campaigns around the world. $4 million for the LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Balkans. They want $2 million for feminist democratic principles projects in Africa. We're not doing that. This is motivated purely out of fear. And what do we mean by that? You saw the Democratic leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, endorse Zoran Mamdani for mayor of New York City on Friday. It was an illustration of what we're facing here. They simply fear losing their own political positions next November if they don't appease the angry far left base right now. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 28 of the Democrat shutdown. We're almost a month into this, and we wanted to highlight a couple of things and a few members this morning. There are some very important developments. But before we get to all that, one of the things that we wanted to note is that really it's painfully obvious to everyone the true motivation of the Democrats' historic obstruction has now become very clear for everyone. I want to use a little simple, Lily, if you show me this real quick. Just real quick, simple facts, because these too much. But there are simple facts about the Democrat shutdown that everybody needs to recognize. Here's 4 of them. First of all, we have to have Democrats to reopen the government. You know that in the Senate it requires 60 votes to break an impasse. Wait, hang on, Lily, hold it real here. Keep it close to the podium. I want everybody to see this, okay? We're gonna make it simple. I had my 15-year-old son and some of his friends were together over the weekend, and they wanted me to explain it to them as simply as possible. This is the little formulation, okay? Hey, fellas, remember from civics, you gotta have 60 votes in the Senate. We only have 53 Republicans, so we must have Democrats to do it. The Democrats are out trying to claim that this is all on Republicans because we control the government. We don't control the Senate without 60 votes, so you have to have them. Now they've voted 13 times, those Senate Democrats, counting the House and the Senate together, they voted 13 times to keep the government closed. And what they're demanding as a ransom to reopen the government are some really crazy things. They want to restore $200 billion in health benefits paid for by U.S. taxpayers to illegal aliens and non-citizens. We can't do that. They want billions of dollars in wasteful programs to be returned to foreign countries for things that none of you would agree with. We are not going to do that. They want $500 million to go back to left-leaning news organizations, paid for by taxpayers. We can't do that. And then they want to cut $50 billion from the Rural Hospital Fund that Republicans got signed into law July 4th to prop up health care in red states and rural areas around the country. It's too important, but they want to take that away. They know that we can't do it. And now that they've begun to admit what this is all about, thanks, Lee, put it on the thing there. They're admitting what they're up to. Chuck Schumer said every day of the shutdown gets better for us, meaning the Democrat Party. And you know, we had the second-ranked Democrat in the House, the minority whip, who just said a few days ago, the end of last week, that we know that this is causing great pain for the American people, but we have to use this leverage. We don't have many times where we have leverage like this. And so they've shown you what the real motivation is. But ultimately, why are they doing all that? Let me summarize this really quickly, as simply as I can, for the civics students back home. Republicans are not demanding anything, literally nothing. All we want is to reopen the government. The Democrats are demanding all those things I just showed you on the chart, plus a lot more. When I say they want to send money to foreign countries, this is some of the things that they would propose that we spend money on again. They're demanding, this is a ransom to reopen the government. Things like $4 million for global LGBTQI plus awareness campaigns around the world. $4 million for the LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Balkans. They want $2 million for feminist democratic principles projects in Africa. We're not doing that. But again, the question is why? Why? This sounds crazy. It is. Why would they do this? And what we saw on vivid display over the weekend was the re-emphasis of this fact. This is motivated purely out of fear. And what do we mean by that? You saw the Democratic leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries, endorse Zohran Mamdani for mayor of New York City on Friday. It was an illustration of what we're facing here. The Democrats right now fear the far-left activists more than they fear air traffic controllers, Border Patrol agents, American service members, and so many others missing their paychecks. They fear the Marxist insurgents like Mamdani more than they fear families and children going hungry from lapsed benefits that keep food on their tables. They simply fear losing their own political positions next November if they don't appease the angry far-left base right now. And they will appease that base at any cost, no matter how much pain's inflicted. In fact, they've said in their own words, this gets better for us day by day. How does it get better? Because they're proving to the angry far-left base in their party that they will prioritize them over the American people. And simply put, it's the profound fear in the Democratic Party that drives this shutdown. It is not principle, it is not policy, it is certainly not concern for the constituents that they say that they want to represent. We know that because even their own constituents now are begging Democrats to stop the political games and reopen the government. Just yesterday, the largest union of federal workers, the very people that the Democrats claim that they fight for, came out publicly and urged the Democrats to join the Republicans in passing the House's very simple short-term funding bill. Also, yesterday, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association began to put up flyers in airports to explain the real danger that is being imposed for air travel, air safety in this country, highlighting what the Democrats are doing. So I just want to say this simply to our Democrat colleagues. You have an off-ramp now. You painted yourself into a corner, but here's your off-ramp. The unions, the largest unions are saying, please do this. You can claim that as cover and say that you had to do it. Reopen the government. Get it working for the people. It's our #1 priority and responsibility as members of Congress. But Senate Democrats have refused to do it for almost a month now. I've said it over and over, Republicans have done our job. We passed the clean short-term funding extension to keep the lights on and pay all these workers and our troops and fund programs like SNAP and WIC that Americans need and rely on. And in the meantime, Republicans have been working very hard around the clock every day of this Democrat shutdown to do our best to reduce the pain for our constituents. In our districts, we got a video running over here just showing some highlights of what all the House Republicans are doing and have been doing for the last few weeks. Out in their districts, they're trying to help Americans navigate the crisis that the Democrats have created with their selfish political decisions. Here's a few more examples this morning we wanted to highlight. In Montana, Congressman Troy Downing, these are all Republicans doing work back home. He's met directly with his TSA officers and air traffic controllers who continue to show up to work while Democrats keep the government closed. In New York, Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis is working around the clock, hand in hand, for example, with her local national park officials to organize community cleanups and maintain our public lands, doing the work Democrats left behind as park rangers and visitors staff remain furloughed under their shutdown. In Sullivan County, Indiana, and down in South Texas, you have Congressman Mark Messmer and Brian Babin. They've strategized with rural hospital leaders to ensure that these communities are able to access that $50 billion rural hospital fund, by the way, that the Democrats want to defund. It's the very funds that the Democrats worked hard to kill in their counterproposal to reopen the government. In South Carolina, Congresswoman Sherry Biggs has been meeting with her small business owners who continue to serve their communities, many of whom are already feeling the benefits from Republicans' work to deliver no tax on tips. We did that in the big, beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut. It's a wildly popular measure that, by the way, every Democrat voted against. In Oregon, Congressman Cliff Bentz is meeting with his air traffic officials as they wait on Democrats to reopen the government and deliver the federal funds they need to expand that region's critical air travel infrastructure. And here in Washington, the work has gone on in earnest as well. People keep commenting to me, you look so tired on TV. I am so tired because we're not sleeping a lot, we're working overtime. Here in Washington, our House committees have continued to conference together and do all the work we can to ensure legislation is ready for the floor for action as soon as we get back to legislative session. The House also continues to carry out its essential oversight duties, and you'll be reporting on this all day, but the Oversight Chairman James Comer released a blockbuster report now on the Biden auto pen presidency. And this report includes 47 hours worth of transcripts and testimony revealing that every executive action signed by the auto pen without written authorization from President Biden should be voided. This is an unprecedented situation in American politics and government. The actions of President Biden simply were not all his own actions, and there are major implications to that, including all the pardons that he signed. But don't get me started. Okay, on Friday, the Energy and Commerce Chairman, Brett Guthrie, these are all Republican actions, he launched a bipartisan investigation into the NBA's handling of betting and illegal gambling allegations following the recent shocking reports that raised questions and integrity concerns. And as we covered last week, the House Oversight Committee also delivered its third batch of files from the Epstein investigation, now totaling 43,000 pages and documents, pieces of evidence, including personal flight logs, financial ledgers, daily calendars, and diaries of Epstein himself. Republicans are here in Washington, and we're out in our district, fanned out across the country, doing good work on behalf of the people we serve and represent. And what are the Democrats doing? You've seen it. They're posting TikTok videos. They're bragging about using the American people's pain as their political leverage. And House Republicans are taking this day by day, just like the rest of the country. We have our House Republicans on a 48-hour return notice so they can get back, understanding that some flights may well be delayed, but to get everybody back here as soon as possible, as soon as the Democrats decide to do the right thing and reopen the government, we will get back to immediate and urgent and necessary business on the House floor itself. We're anxious to get back to that, but we cannot have a regular legislative session until the Democrats do their most basic responsibility to reopen the government and get this moving again.